Your company is in the market for a new phone system and you have a medium to large size company, meaning you have like 100 employees or more. And DialPad is one of the companies that you've heard of, but you want to learn more about them. Well, a lot of my customers fall into this category. So what I did is I reached out to my buddy over at DialPad, Connor, and asked him if he would do a demo call with me and a Q&A. So I could ask him a bunch of questions about DialPad. He could explain what makes DialPad unique, what are their unique advantages, what are the cool things that he thinks that they offer that other companies don't, all kinds of good stuff. So that's what you're gonna see in this video today. And really quick, if you'd like more information on DialPad and wanna see a demo for your company, and your company is medium size, like 100 employees or more, don't reach out to DialPad directly. Reach out and contact me. Send me an email, give me a call. I'm a broker for DialPad and all of their competitors, and I can get you better pricing on DialPad than anyone can. And I can make sure you talk to Connor and get a demo from him and his great team over there. So send me an email, give me a call. Don't just call DialPad. Don't try to call Connor. I will help you with that. That's my specialty. That's what I do. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my weekly videos that I put out, and go check out our website, aerocominc.com. All right, well, enjoy this video that I did with the demo on DialPad. Okay, great. Well, today I want to show everybody a demo of DialPad's UCaaS solution, and I have a great person on the call that I recruited to help me out with this. His name's Connor Revsbeck. And Connor's actually been with DialPad for 9 years. He's been everything from a project manager for a few years, then he's been a sales engineer for several years, and now he is my partner manager that I work with. He's my main point of contact at DialPad. So he's been around. I mean, so for a medium to large size company, which is who this video is really geared toward, this is someone who knows a lot. So he knows about the platform, he knows how it installs, he knows, all the technical side, ins and outs. So with that, yeah, I wanted to have Connor give us a demo. So thanks for joining us, Connor.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, you're dating me. I kind of forgot about the project management days. It's been a long time, but yeah, I'm excited to walk through the platform with you today for sure.
Cool. So, but before we get into that, I'd like to get your opinion on what you think is like the best fit for a DialPad UCaaS solution. UCaaS, for all of you who don't understand, that's an industry term we throw out there a lot. It's Unified Communications as a Service, which in essence is a cloud phone system. So that's really what that means. UCaaS is cloud phone system, as opposed to cloud contact center. So from your perspective, in all the meetings you've been in, all the customers you've talked to, what is like the quintessential perfect fit for DialPad's cloud phone system solution?
Yeah, good question. Actually, let me share my screen. We can jump into it, and I'll answer our ideal fit. But to not necessarily give too much of a cop-out answer, DialPad does play extremely well in almost every vertical. So I've got like our NASCAR side up here of current customers. And as you can see, technology, financial, media, healthcare, DialPad plays in all of them. So really anyone that has like a communications need internally or externally. But where we really stand out, and what at least my own opinion has been, where if we get into an opportunity with a company that is, let's say, AI curious, they hear it a big buzzword. They want to know how it can help make their team more practical, but they also don't necessarily know how it's going to affect the team or how to implement it. With DialPad being an entirely out of the box solution, you don't have to go to another third party. We don't even use third parties to build on to our tech stack. We win a lot of those deals. And so it just comes right out of the box, live transcription, and a few more advanced features like summarization and things like that. Which, because it's all in-house for us at DialPad, it helps us scale as well. So you mentioned medium to large size companies. If anyone is moving from an on-premise system or another cloud provider and they want to port numbers over, it's extremely simple, and we can spin up, hundreds of office location and endpoints all over like a cup of coffee with the admin portal. It's not a major uplift. So I would say both the admin side scaling, then also having the AI be in-house and out of the box. If the evaluator itself is interested in either of those things, we position really, really well for sure.
Cool. I see that you guys have Snapchat as a customer. I think my 16-year-old son would love that.
Yeah, that's definitely one in there for the Gen Z. But yeah, exactly. It's a lot of media. Anyone that's mobile, multiple office locations, interested in modern tech, we do
Yeah.
really well.
I'm more the AAA kind of guy. Like all the car insurance I'm paying right now for all of my 4 teens
Yeah.
and early 20 kids.
Well, let's hope you haven't used Morgan and Morgan to file a claim then. Yeah.
That's true. I do hear a lot of advertisements about
Yeah.
them recently. Yeah, I would say like to kind of piggyback off what you said, Connor, like that's been my experience too with DialPad. You know, having sold DialPad for several years, I feel like a great DialPad customer. I mean, obviously I have DialPad customers who are just simple phone system. They like DialPad. They saw the interface. They really liked it. And they're just using DialPad and they're not using a lot of fancy features. But I would say that to me, like a perfect fit for DialPad is a business that, wants to use more than just a plain phone system. Some, business who wants a little bit of the technology, and DialPad has some really cool technology that they can do that others can't. To me, DialPad is really, one of the early adopters of AI. AI has been really big the last couple of years, but DialPad was doing AI several years earlier with
Oh,
full
yeah.
call transcription when no one was doing that. And, cool things with the sales cards and all that type of stuff, where it's almost like if a company wants some call center-esque features, but isn't really ready to go to a call center, and pay for a full call center, maybe just some little elevated feature sets, like that's a really good fit for DialPad typically from what I see.
Totally. Yeah, I would agree. Where if you don't necessarily label yourself as a full blown call center, but there's some specific features for like coaching or making your team more efficient, we do really well helping, companies like crawl, walk, run their way up to some of those call center related features. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I guess let's just start and have you kind of show us the platform just like you would on a customer demo that we do that we've seen so many times before.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I'll jump in here. I've pulled up the DialPad desktop application to start with. DialPad does work on all of the endpoints your customers want to work from or your users work from. So, mobile, iOS, Android, desk phones, desktops, laptops, Chrome browsers, what have you. It's feature parity across the board. So I'm just going to focus on the desktop application for now. And I wanted to call out a few things from the application experience to get you more familiar with it before I actually jump into a live call.
Okay.
So right now, I'm in my user's inbox where you can see I have a couple of text message notifications from last Friday that I have outstanding. I could jump in here and see my colleague Alton, like he needs help. We have our conversation history all readily available. I'm going to go back to the inbox and just call out a few things. Because DialPad is entirely cloud native, we're built on the Google Cloud platform for all of our infrastructure, except voice traffic. We actually have our own data centers. But being built on GCP allows for a couple of unique things where, for example, this ribbon up at the top, I have all of my different ways of communication, voicemails, text messages, things like that. But we also offer unlimited storage at DialPad because we're entirely cloud native. I feel like that's a smaller feature, but if you are, just a regular UCaaS user and you want to be able to keep, say, your recordings or your voicemails, your texts for, a year or 7 years, whatever it might be, we do offer the ability to offer that in perpetuity.
That's great.
And then last couple of things before I jump into this live call. On the left-hand side, you'll notice a few features here. I can expand it as well, where we'll focus for right now on just an individual call, but I'm going to jump into departments later. You mentioned it earlier, Mike, where it's, DialPad's pretty good at offering some features that are getting into the call center space, but not always necessarily full-blown call center. We can do that because our platform is one platform, whether you are a call center user or not. So we won't jump into it today, but if I didn't have the call center license on my application, this tab just wouldn't appear. And I could focus on just like my shared lines, which we call departments or hunt groups, ring groups. It's common terminology.
Okay, great.
Sweet. Okay, so with that, I am going to make a call here. And I'm actually going to call into my shared. Actually, I'll call outbound to Craig first. Let's do that. And then I can do an inbound call later. So I had an outstanding call or notification from Craig saying to call him. I click the call button and immediately drops me into a conversation. It's dialing outbound. I'm going to answer on my mobile phone here in a second. But one thing you'll notice while I'm waiting for that call to connect and while I mute my other side, just need to avoid the echo when I mute it. There we go. Is that we offer this live transcription natively. This comes out of the box, like I was saying earlier. We do not charge extra for it. It's all in-house for us too. We aren't using third parties like OpenAI or Google Gemini or Anthropic. And so because of that, we are able to scale it indefinitely and offer it out of the box. Because I muted my mobile, which is Craig here, you'll notice the transcription is only going to pick up Connor Finch's user for the rest of this conversation. But if this was a normal back and forth conversation or dialogue, we would be able to capture both sides of the conversation here. So I'll pause here. Any questions so far, Mike, on like look and feel of the application, making a call, the transcription, anything like that?
No, not so far.
Okay, awesome. So a few other things I'll plug here while the transcription's running. With DialPad, we offer every one of our customers their own custom library, where if you have like competitor names or industry jargon specific to your business, we can upload those words as library terms, and then the AI will be able to transcribe that specific to your business in your instance, and then be able to just get more accurate the more you use it. So like you mentioned earlier, a good fit for DialPad. I said if they're AI curious, where because we now transcribe or offer the ability to transcribe every call, anyone that's like a business owner or manager of teams can come in and actually track not just call volume related metrics, but understand frequently asked questions or topics that are occurring or where people are struggling, because this is all being quantified now. And it's not necessarily just, hey, how many calls did Connor have today, right? It's, oh, Connor's on a call about this, and then we can help.
That's cool. And then after the call's over, that transcription that full transcription still available, right?
Yes, totally. Yep. So as soon as the call hangs up, we offer the transcription available immediately. What's unique for DialPad 2, you may notice I don't have this call being recorded right now. I know some of our competitors who use third parties rely on having a recording join the conversation, and you have to like upload that recording and then get those transcriptions. For us, again, it's all in-house. It's all available immediately. And we summarize these conversations. So jumping ahead of myself a little bit, let's see if I have a quick one here. Otherwise, I can scroll back later. Yeah, here we go. So test call from a while back. I can see when Craig called in, the talk time in total, and then a summary of everything that was talked about. So this was just another demo of mine, but you can come in and see the new features, the transcriptions. And as soon as I hang up this test call that we're in, I'll show the summary of what this demo call looks like too.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's super useful because it's pretty much you don't really have to take notes on calls anymore. I mean, I would still take notes anyway, just because I'm old. I'm 50 years old. So like for me, I'm like, I don't think I can get away from doing that just for my own peace of mind, but it's like a backup. It's like, oh, what were the takeaways? Like what?
Exactly.
What did that person say again? What was the phone number that he gave me, or things like that?
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what I use it for too. Like I still have a note card on my desk where I write down my things I want to do each day. But there's often times during the day where I'm like, oh, what did I talk about with Mike again? Or if I'm in back-to-backs and I don't have time to get myself caught up, I can easily jump in, see the summary of what my sync was with that person earlier. Light bulb goes off. It's like, oh yeah, we're talking about these topics now, right? So offering this out of the box, and it's a quality of life improvement, honestly. So at DialPad, this is like my favorite feature in the last 5 years, where it's just like I don't have to do anything extra to get this information as an end user. The summaries are presented to me, and then as a manager, or if I need to go back and look up, hey, what did we talk about? I can easily just come in and search by specific words that are in the transcript or in the text messages. Or even if like you see here, if I digest my information better in bullet point form, I can set it to bullet points instead of having being paragraph. And again,
That's cool.
Last thing I'll say on it too, it's the out of the box, right? It doesn't take any effort. There's no uplift. It's super easy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. Okay, so a couple other things while I'm still on this call. I have the transcript minimized for now, running in the background. But all of your standard call controls that you are familiar with are available on DialPad 2. So, mute, hold, transfer, which you could look up, like search by users by name or by their extension, their phone number, what have you. I'll use Alton as an example here. where I could even ask first and transfer now. So I could be like, hey, Alton, I have Craig on the line. Are you available to speak with them? Yes or no. Or I could just blindly send them over to Alton's queue. So a little bit of flexibility with your call controls. One thing too unique to DialPad, like I mentioned, I'm not recording this call. The transcription and the recording are totally independent. We get asked a lot about two-party authentication states. Because DialPad is technically note-taking and transcribing this call, it's not the same thing as a recording. So tons of ways to be able to make sure this is on and running at all times. Obviously, if you are going to record the call, we have announcement options that can be played to make sure everybody is aware and is consenting.
Cool.
And then last couple of things, right? A keypad if you have to navigate through a menu, loop in three-way callers, even park the call, things like that.
Awesome.
One thing too, before I hang up and jump into my second call, I wanted to quickly call out with our UCaaS platform. We offer native integrations with most of the major CRMs. So I'm going to log this call to Salesforce here quickly. But we have, like I mentioned, out of the box with Zendesk, HubSpot, Zoho, Bullhorn, Dynamics. The list goes on and on. We're constantly rolling out new improvements and integrations. So if you want to keep any of these CRMs as like your source of truth, or if maybe you're not living and breathing out of those CRMs, you can quickly still log and take notes. And all of this information gets pushed back there as well. Awesome. So with that, I am going to hang this call up on both sides. And then this is a smaller feature, but I think it's important, especially for you IT admins that might be watching. Every time we have a call on DialPad, we give the end user the option to rate their call quality. Anything with a 2-star or less prompts the end user to let us at DialPad know what went wrong. So maybe there was echo or the call dropped, for example. I can add in some notes. And then if I check this box, it actually creates a ticket for our support team to investigate. And then you can track that in your analytics portal and admin portal. So we're not always having the end users need to escalate to the IT team. The IT team can just see, hey, this specific user or this specific office is reporting poor quality. Maybe we need to upgrade the network, things like that.
Very cool.
Exactly. And so, like I mentioned, summaries of those conversations available immediately. So I literally just hung up this call, 30 seconds ago. And the entire transcription of what we talked about is available here. And keep in mind, I had muted one side of this, and it's still extremely accurate. So as you can see, it's Connor discusses the features of DialPad. We focus on the transcriptions, the real-time assists, customizing the libraries, the different CRMs, right? This is exactly what we talked about. And it was just pulling from one test call. And I didn't have to upload a recording. I didn't need to request this information. It's all just presented to me.
That's great.
Okay, so I'm going to transition to Salesforce for a second and just give a quick highlight of what this information looks like when we push it out to our third parties. And then I'll come back here and mention a little bit of like our departments.
Yeah, that's huge because I think a lot of companies obviously have Salesforce.
Yep. And Salesforce is probably our most popular integration, but like I mentioned, we have tons of others, and they all work in a pretty similar way. So if you are interested in seeing a proper demo of DialPad in the future, Mike and our team will be able to customize that demo to whatever your specific CRMs are as well. So here I've pulled up Craig's contact in my Salesforce instance. We offer CTI as a computer telephony interface in all of our different integrations. So for those power users that do live and breathe within Salesforce, they don't want to toggle between applications. This is readily available, and it's all updating. All the endpoints sync immediately, right? So here's the test call I just had with Craig, the summary. I could call back. You can send text messages, things like that.
That's great, and that's in the Salesforce window.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so I could just click this number, for example, and we could pop up a call, and I could send a text or a call to that user right from
that's cool.
And then what's also great too, mind my scrolling, we log the texting and calls back to Salesforce and most of the other CRMs. So as you'll notice earlier, when I made my test call, I made the subject of that test, and I put into my own notes, hello world. I'll jump in. All of this information is out of the box with just standard single sign-on between DialPad and Salesforce. So you don't have to go through and do any custom object mapping or expose any other fields with your Salesforce admins. We do really try to lean into the simplicity. And so as you can see here, here's the notes that I took, hello world. And then we link back or we put in a link back to the transcription in DialPad, only because most of these CRMs charge for storage. And like you mentioned, Mike, we do capture the entire transcription, but if your team is making a lot of volume, having long conversations, getting a 30-minute transcript in here would be really costly. So this links back to our DialPad call summary page. I'll get to that a little bit later, but as you can see here, all the metadata is available. So the call duration in seconds, the dates, the time, direction, and then at the bottom, my scrolling, we have an object specifically available for DialPad where we have that summary also logged. So we're not putting the whole transcription into Salesforce. We do put in the summary. So if a manager or user wants to quickly jump in, it's all right there.
Yeah, that's all they need, not the full transcription anyway. Otherwise, it's just too much information.
Right, exactly. Yeah, then they're not even going to read it in the first place.
Yeah, that's great. That comes all out of the box.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my desktop application. As you can see, I sent this text from Salesforce itself. It shows up in my desktop. It shows up in my mobile. All your endpoints communicate together in real time on DialPad. This time, I'm actually going to jump into a live call and show a call that comes in through what we call a department. So my user is associated to a couple of different departments in this instance. Again, a department to us is just like a ring group or a hunt group, a shared line of some kind. And I am an operator with a few other members of my team that are associated. They're all turned off duty right now. As the supervisor of this line, I could toggle other end users to be available if needed, but then you can also lock those permissions up. Because I want this call to ring directly to me, I'm going to make sure all my other colleagues are off duty. I'm going to call into this number here. We can assign multiple numbers to departments, so toll-free, local, what have you. And then we can get into the routing logic a little bit later. So I'm going to accept this call. I see it came in from the billing line, not my own specific phone number on DialPad. Sorry, I had to mute my other side because of the echo. But again, as soon as I answered that call, similar to a direct call, I get dropped into the conversation history between when Craig last called our billing department. And what's really unique for DialPad is that because we have several users associated to this line, we always try to make sure the manager or all the other end users know who was the last person to communicate with them. So I sent a text out earlier, but let's say, Mike, if you were another operator in this line, you could text back from the same number. And then the end or Craig calling in wouldn't know there's multiple operators, but us, I could come in and see, Connor sent this or Mike said this or whomever.
Oh, wow. And that's just available just through normal like ring group, hunt group, which is your departments. Right?
Exactly.
That's cool. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. That's like a call center-esque type of feature that most companies do not have in a normal hunt group.
Yep, totally. We win a lot of deals by just being able to show that, hey, even though we have this one department, we can have it be one silo of communication for multiple different people, whether it's texting or calling. And then, actually, I'll send this into. I'll respond back so you can see what this looks like from billing. I will send this message. So DialPad, SMS, and MMS totally available. So we've just been sending regular media message. We're going to do multimedia too. I'll give us a second to come through. But as you'll notice, all the same call controls, whether it's in a department, very similar to the end user call controls. So ramping up users and training them on DialPad is pretty simple no matter how they're calling. Here you can see a birthday flyer for my friend that I'm going to go to next weekend. But you could send GIFs, emojis, what have you.
Cool. And just to make sure I'm understanding it correctly, so if someone else in that department or ring group has interacted, it's going to be on that same string?
Exactly. Yep. So let me see if I haven't. Yep, exactly. So look, Alton sent out the last text message to that user when I had texted them a couple of months before too. So Alton would have called them. it would also say this was answered by Alton, for example.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, usually you don't get that until you're jumping into a CRM.
Totally. Yep. Exactly. Cool. Okay. Last thing too on these departments, I don't know if we necessarily have one live. Yeah, I could come in as the manager and see who my users are that are on live calls. But I also think this is relatively important where on these shared lines, it's often that we would get feedback that, like, let's say after hours, a whole bunch of people come in and there's maybe 5 voicemails left in the queue that came in overnight or something. If a user clicks into it, it's easy to lose if that actually was actioned on or not. And now within DialPad in our departments, you can come in and actually assign these and mark them as this was a resolved, or hey, Alton, I need you to handle this one or call this one back or resolve, right? So even in that aspect, we're almost dipping our toes into like the light CRM world. We're not like creating tickets or anything, but it is another way to keep managers of these shared lines to hold people accountable. Be like, hey, when you come in, Mike, you have 2 voicemails that are specifically assigned to you to call back.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then how do you know, like, so if you sign it to them, is there a way, like, how do you know if they did it? Is there a way where you can see it?
Yeah, it would be back in here. So I clicked into that specific call in that voicemail and it said assigned to Jeff, and then he marked it as resolved. So I need to come in, Mike resolved another one that came in as well. So even though these were back in January, it took me to that specific point in the thread where it happened. So you're not like mindlessly scrolling or getting lost. You can come in and see, did that user do it? Did they resolve it? And then there's the call log history too.
Great.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So with that, I am also going to hang this call up. This time I'll say it was 5 stars instead of 2. And then we'll go to second to load. So this is most of what I plan to show from the desktop application for the user experience, making a call, sending text messages, things like that. Anything specific that you might think of, Mike, that I might have missed? You might make sure that our viewers see here.
No, I think it's mainly, just that, like, making calls, receiving calls, checking voicemail, getting text messages in and out, like that type of stuff. I think that's kind of the basics, but I think that's good.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So with that,
one thing I was going to bring up.
Please.
What about the Teams plugin? Do you have the ability to show that?
Yeah, I do actually. So let me make sure I have it properly available. I don't use the Teams app because it takes a lot of storage on my laptop, but it's the same experience if you access from the browser or from the desktop. So we actually have 2 flavors of our Microsoft Teams integration. We treat it, again, just like any other endpoint, whether it's mobile, desktop, Chrome. And so there's 2 options with Microsoft. If you have like the E5 license, or I believe it's E1 plus the business voice add-on, which is like $8 a month, we can set up what Microsoft calls direct routing. And in this instance, a user would really be none the wiser that DialPad is running in the back end, controlling the telephony path, gathering the transcription, you're getting all that data. You really could make them see and interact from just this instance. You can see here's like the billing calls I was taking and some other test calls I make over time, all available to me right here. But again, that does come with the additional like $8 a month license. So we also have another option where there's no extra fee associated to a reoccurring fee associated to this instance. We call it license-free routing. You don't have to pay for the license. And as you can see, it's really just an iframe of the DialPad app that we just covered embedded into Teams. So admins would go in and have users add the Teams app within, or the DialPad app within Teams. And then here you can see I have like my whole conversation history with Craig, the calls I literally just made, text messages. I could initiate inbound and outbound calls all from within this pane, and not even have to download the DialPad app, right? You just keep Teams as that single app.
That's cool. And is presence shared with Teams? So if you're on a DialPad call, and then does Teams presence reflect that? So if other users are in Teams, can they tell if you're on a call?
Yes. Yeah, it will. Which is a new update for us. For a while, we didn't have the presence syncing 2-way. So
very cool.
I'll make a call here. No promises on this one since I haven't tested out V2, but that was like our #1 request for a long time. So I'll answer a call here. And I can see I'll answer it from directly within Teams. This push notification is because I have the desktop app downloaded. If I didn't have the desktop app downloaded, right, and I'm just working out of Teams, the user would never see that. Same thing with this version. And so I can jump back in here, see DialPad, like Connor's on a live call within Teams. And then also within DialPad, it's saying Teams in a call with the red DialPad.
Awesome. Very cool. I think that's great because I work a lot with customers who like Teams. They're using Teams a lot, but then they need some of the functionality for the phone system that Teams doesn't have. So like all the stuff we were talking about earlier, Teams can't do any of that stuff. So they're like, hey, we want kind of the best of both worlds. So I think that's great, having that little plugin.
Totally. Yeah. Teams is meant to be more for internal communication where obviously people have adapted to it, love it. It helps that it was given out for free for so long. But now with DialPad, users can stay in within Teams, but still get access. Because again, the transcription is running in the background, even if I do answer this from Teams. So if you don't want to lose all of that data on, your competitors being mentioned or topics, trends, and conversations, it's still running on DialPad.
Awesome.
I hope you're liking the video so far on DialPad, and I hope you're liking what you hear from Connor. Again, if you'd like a quote from DialPad, or you just like more information, or you'd like to see a demo, don't call DialPad directly. Reach out and contact me. Send me an email, give me a call. I will get you better pricing on DialPad than anyone else in the industry. I'm a broker for all the major service providers out there. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I can get you in touch with Connor, make sure we get a great demo going, make sure you get awesome pricing. And I don't charge you a dime for my services, so you don't have to pay me. So no excuse not to at least reach out and see what I have to say. And if you'd like, since I'm a broker for all the major vendors out there, I can also give you additional recommendations if you want other vendors to compare to DialPad. So I can make some recommendations based on your company's requirements, set up demos with them as well, and get you quotes from them as well. All right, send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Cool. Yeah, and then what about, I know on other demos, and it's kind of getting into some of the more elevated licenses, but what about like the little cards that can pop up if certain keywords are mentioned or things like that?
Totally. So that is available in our call center product. Do you want me to show that now as a little teaser for what they could add, or should we save that for another time?
Yeah, let's show it a little bit now, because I think and you guys don't, I think you guys have a license level that's like halfway in between, right? Before you get to like full contact center, it's like, oh, if you just want the sales cards, or maybe I'm thinking of.
No, you got it.
Think of that, and then as well as being able to change your outbound number when you're making outbound calls, like depending on the area that you're calling into, like that type of thing.
Yeah. So there's a couple there. So with DialPad, we offer the users to be able to have multiple different calls, and then I'll show the cards in a second. But let's say I have multiple departments or phone numbers associated with my account. It's really easy for me to jump in here and toggle what my outbound caller ID is going to be. So let's say I want to call from this 956 or 281. It's really easy for me to switch that or set to my primary. We also do offer a tool in our outbound call center option that will automatically match the area code to the number you're calling. So you don't even have to come in here and toggle. So that is a feature available with like our more sales focused product. And within DialPad, I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but this is what's really great about our platform, where because all the different products that we offer live and breathe in this one application. Like you mentioned, it's really easy for us to say, hey, maybe you don't even think of yourself or need all these advanced call center solutions, but you want to have these recommendations like you're mentioning, and I'll show here right now. We can kind of a la carte or cherry pick those features on. So it's not like jumping. It's, if you don't consider yourself a call center, you easily could use probably a lot of these features and not even know.
That's been my experience. I've had a lot of customers where it's like they kind of like one or two of the call center features, but they're like, well, I don't, I'm not ready for the price tag of full contact center. We don't need omni-channel and all that stuff. But man, those little sales cards look really cool. Or, the outbound, the automatic outbound caller ID number changing, like that type of stuff. They're like,
Yeah.
that sounds really cool. So they'll kind of get like that halfway license, like halfway to call center, but not full call center.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So we do great in that. Any mixed environment too, right? Yeah. If it's mostly UC, but a little bit of contact center. So I just made one more call into a call center that I've named Smart Auto Care Sales. This is actual customer use case of ours where I'll minimize the transcription for now. But these recommendations you're alluding to, Mike, I like this example because it's a real customer where they go through a lot of seasonal hiring and they have like college or high school kids that get questions around the different insurance options that could be purchased on these vehicles. And our AI can go through and like listen or look up, oh, Connor's on a call about insurance, mention that we have personal, watercraft, ATV. So these talk tracks pop up in real time for the users. Actually, I linked this and open up on my other monitor. But then you can even have whatever that source of truth or that knowledge base is, have like an article link to it. So your users have access to that information right at their fingertips. And it's just looking for those keywords in the transcripts. These take maybe 30 seconds to configure by an admin. So it's often on demos, I'll just go on to the customer's homepage, look up something, and then build it out live for them on our first call. So if your prospects, your customers are interested in that, we can do that. But as you can see, it's just so available and valuable to be able to have that information right at their fingertips, whether it's the actual link to your knowledge base or just like quick, hey, remember to mention, the watercraft, or if you're a salesperson, mention the spiff that's going on or the campaign, anything it might be. Gets everybody on the same page. And then, it's all available right away.
Yeah. Some good examples I've heard brought up too are like competitors' names.
Yep.
Or like, so it's like, and it'll pop up a battle card, like a link to a battle card that you've created where it's like the advantages your company might have compared to that competitor. There are things you might want to bring up, questions you might want to ask, if that competitor's name is mentioned, or like product names. If a certain product is brought up, then it links to like a full detail on that product. So it saves time so that that caller isn't, or the person answering the call isn't having to go out and find,
right,
search for that product, find the exact, model number and all that stuff and look it up and see the details, like little time savers like that.
Yeah, which then also drives, your customer satisfaction scores to go up because they're getting those answers more quickly. Or even like a personal use case, I can say at DialPad. So, I started 9 years ago before we had these real-time recommendation features, and like our onboarding time to get a new salesperson on the phones was a month back then, just to have everything and feel like they're ready to go and answer as many questions as they can. For us now, it's 1 week. And if they haven't been trained on it, we have so many of these battle cards made and tested where it's like, hey, if someone does call in and they ask what are the differences between DialPad and competitor X, Y, or Z, all of that information is right at the fingertips for those users, and then they can talk to it with a decent amount of knowledge.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I don't know many companies who wouldn't need that. Like, so,
Totally.
like anybody who starts at a company and, if you're customer facing at all, those are just going to be questions you're going to have. Like that's, all of us who didn't have that kind of technology had to just, pay our dues of just fumbling around on calls in front of customers and just, putting them on hold. Oh, can you hold on 1 second? And you're going and asking the person next to you. You do that like 5 times in one call.
Yeah.
You start to lose a lot of credibility with the customer. They're like, man, I'm talking to somebody new. Like, is this going to really go well if I go with this company? This is not giving me a lot of confidence. But like that, like I said, I don't know many companies who wouldn't need that.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And we're just scratching the surface too. Check out the contact center video in the future for a few more of these features.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to do another video in a couple days. We're going to record one where we're going over their contact center stuff. So if you're watching this one, by the time you're watching this one, that one will probably be out. So check that one out. Cool. Well, let's check out the admin side.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll hang this call up. Take out a couple of notes. All right. So let me grab my browser here. And from the admin side, I like to show just a couple of like basic call routing and how easy it is to set up users, things like that. Honestly, for an admin portal, I think it's really easy where you don't need to be like a certified engineer to spin up the call routing in DialPad. We take a lot of pride in it. But with that being said too, it's like I could spend a whole hour in the admin portal if the right person is that interested in it. So I'll try to keep it just like the most important things here. So essentially just going to dialpad.com, the end user gets dropped into their profile settings. I'll skip over most of this for now, but just want to point out, we set up like the end user locations for 911. They can set up a few other settings too, specifically around the call handling and voicemail. So if users want to have multiple different voicemails, they can record their own, or you could upload an MP3 file of one that maybe is, you know, standard for the company. And they don't always have to like escalate this to the IT admin if they want to make these changes. It's all just, you know, readily available for them. Same thing with like call blocking options, or maybe even like their working hours, customizing ring duration. So a lot of the controls are at the fingertips of the end users. We also allow admins to proxy in and make changes for end users if needed. But focusing more on the actual admin portal itself. So because I do have admin credentials on this account, I'll see this gear icon. If I was just a regular end user, my screen would be a lot cleaner here and this wouldn't appear. So what you're looking at is truly like the most robust offering DialPad can even offer. And I'm a little biased, but I still think it's pretty easy to navigate. So starting at the top down, I'm a user that's associated to our HQ in this instance. So my company is called Flight Devices, and we do break admin privileges up hierarchical. So you can be an overall super admin or a company-wide admin, where you can see your total team members, how many different offices, whether they're virtual or actual physical offices that you've created. And then you can assign other admins who maybe are super admins with you, or maybe an admin of just like a region or an office or two, right? We get pretty granular with who's going to have access to what. I'm going to focus on the HQ instance for now. As you can see, we have multiple different ones. We can scale up to unlimited offices. But I want to quickly touch on user provisioning. Here you can come into the tab where it says users, and you could see all of your active users, or if someone hasn't logged in yet, and then what their license type is on DialPad, if they've been given any special credentials like advanced analytics, meetings, maybe faxes, right? It's all pretty easy to see here. We also have a reserved numbers pool, which if you are porting over numbers, or maybe you have a block of numbers you like, but you don't want to lose anything like that, we can keep them on our platform. And as you grow or want to reallocate them, it's super easy to just come in and assign. But adding users, it's pretty simple. The first time we set it up, we'll assign, or we'll send out the invite to this instance with the admin most likely. They'll sign in via single sign-on, whether it's Office 365 or G Suite. And then they'll sync with their directory just one time for the admin. And then from then on in the future, it's just searching by name. So I'll keep using Alton, my colleague, as the example, but search for Alton's email or name. I assign the license type that I want Alton to have. So Connect is our UCaaS license, which we've been focusing on today. Alton is already a user of DialPad, so I can't reassign him. But if they were a new user, you could come in and or set up that phone number for that user. Once you hit add, they get an email invite letting them know they've been invited to DialPad. They hit accept, they sign in via single sign-on, and then boom, they're live. We've had some instances where like a other provider has an outage or something, and it's critical. They need to get back online immediately. We've spun up instances, over a cup of coffee in an hour, and got users provisioned, taking calls. It can be that quick if needed.
Wow. So, and when you're adding a user on here, does your company have to be purchasing like extra licenses for those users to add, or does it automatically just start billing your account like on demand, like as you add users?
It depends. So if you go through, Mike, or through our team as like a sales order, you can have like pre-negotiated licenses readily available. We also have flex licenses too, where if it is seasonal and you want to be able to, for 3 months, scale up and then scale down, we have those licenses available as well.
Okay. So say your company has like 90 licenses or whatever that you're paying for on a consistent basis, but you have your 91st employee start. Can you just add them through here, or do you need to call DialPad and add another user license there first and then go to here?
We can add them in here for sure. Yeah. There'll be a whole section here in billing where you can purchase licenses.
Great. Yeah. Great. So you don't have to call in and do the whole order thing. You could do it all in the admin portal.
Exactly. Yep.
That's great. That's great. Because I know some some of the competitors out there don't have it that way. You actually have to call in and place the order and then wait till that order is provisioned, and then you can add the user. So that's great. You could do it all like real time on demand.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So that's spinning up a user. Like I was mentioning, it's pretty simple. I did want to touch on a few other things too. So we've been focusing mostly on the soft phone approach. DialPad does definitely work with desk phones. Polycom and A-Link are our preferred partners, but generally anything that's OpenSIP, we usually can repurpose and provision to those users here too. So the software gets a lot of the love, but we definitely still work on plenty of different desk phones. Wanted to call that out. Cool. Okay. So then last thing to touch on the admin portal, and it's really the biggest part, are these departments. And so this is like our stripped down version of the call center. On our calls earlier, I was calling our billing department. I'm actually just going to search that one here. It depends on your account, but you can set up unlimited departments if you wanted. Again, scale is not an issue at all with DialPad. And then from here, be able to see an ad. If maybe you want to add a toll-free number or something, you can come in and set that up, pay for the toll-free number, and then you can assign that right on the fly too. So that'll just change your bill right away. Again, you don't have to reach out to us to have the toll-free number get assigned.
Awesome.
And then a couple of things I'll point out here. So this, like I mentioned, is the instance I made the test call into earlier. We have 5 operators. And let's say Mike here, I could make him an admin of this line. And now Mike could come in and make changes to that department. So even if Mike is not an overall company admin, but I want him to be able to change the call routing for this specific group, I can give him just that access. So that's what I mean by it's really granular, not always having to reach out to the IT team for changes.
Cool.
And then it goes past that too, right? So mind my toggle here, but here's my billing department. As you can see, we have the 5 operators that are all listed. If I come in and I want to make a change, let's say Jeff is no longer needed in this line, and then I wanted to add, let's say Adam. We have multiple Adams. No, let's do, who else on my team? Brittany. Yeah, I'll add Brittany. So in real time, this is all updating. Same with the routing logic that we'll get to in a second. But there was nothing I had to do to my application here. Let me just refresh quick. And essentially all the changes are live. This can all be moved. As you can see, Brittany is now available to take these calls and Jeff is not in that instance. This is also what we mean by like, we take some pride that you don't need to be like a certified engineer to make these changes. It's all point and click and searching by name, and then it updates immediately.
Yeah, that's great. Super easy.
Yeah. And then last thing from the admin side, the business hours and call routing, the big thing for the IT team, right? So how do we want these calls to be routed? Is it open 24/7 or only during specific hours? You can customize the time zone that you're working out of. And again, let's say 8 to 5:30 normally, but let's say we're going traditional 8 to 5. I could set that here for the rest of the week. It saves, it's all updated right away for me. And so we also have holiday hours, which there's no specific ones here on this instance, but if you want to be able to come in and we have all the major US holidays pre-configured, you can add, or if you have like a company picnic or something, it's easy to come in and spin these up, not have to change your entire routing. But for the actual routing itself, we have a section here to edit. And so when we're open, which in this instance is 8 to 5, right now, we have it ringing to the operators in a fixed order where, because this is my demo environment, I want it to ring to me first every single time. But we can change that where maybe it's simultaneous and everybody gets a call because you're trying to make sure it's answered as quick as possible. Or longest idle, just who hasn't been called the longest, and it just rotates through. So a couple different options when it's ringing the operators, but this also could be the start of a call tree where, let's say you want this call to come in and you wanted to go through an automated response menu, right? Now we have drop downs, so you can press 2 for the extension directory, or press 1 for the dial by name directory, press 3 to reach another department, maybe it's sales or support. So you start branching off as well directly from here.
Great.
And then last couple of things, personalizing it to your own company and instance, right? So you could have multiple greetings that you could record on the fly or upload. customize ring durations, even hold queue settings. Like let's say you never want more than 5 people in the hold queue, or someone never waits longer than 4 minutes. You can set those thresholds. And then if either of those are met, you can set fallback options. So let's say I'm the 6th person in the hold queue. Maybe I just get routed directly to the voicemail and say, hey, sorry, we're experiencing high wait times. Or let's say I could route it to another failover department or my boss or manager, things like that. So it's very easy to make sure your customers are taken care of and people aren't getting lost in those queues.
Nice.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, we could spend like a whole hour in the admin portal specifically. Anything else like specific or high level that you want to make sure we hit on here before we finish up with analytics?
No, I just was going to make a comment. I think it's super cool going back to the holiday thing, that the holidays are already pre-programmed. So you're not having to, you could just say, okay, we always take this day off or that day off, because that's a big pain in the butt to have to go in every year and like reprogram manually the same holidays every single year, because some of them obviously fall on different days of the week every single year. So it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And what day is it? And, we take this day off this time, and that's cool. You just kind of set it and forget it somewhat, or at least set it and not have to do much to tweak it every single year.
Exactly. Yeah. And leaning into the scalability thing too, like let's use the example that it is like a company picnic, or this one says axe throwing, right? You can create these specific things, and instead of having to go through every mainline, every department and do this individually, you could create an overall theme of just axe throwing. And then every department can get assigned to this date where, I guess, on the 27th, almost 3 years ago, we had an axe throwing event.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we could spend hours going over all the admin stuff. It's how to configure this, how to configure that, or how to add permissions for this or that. I mean, there's so many different things, but obviously if anyone's watching this and they have specific questions, just reach out and contact me, and just, email AskMike at AeroCominc.com, and, I'll be able to answer it, or I'll get Connor on the phone, or somebody else, and we'll be able to get you taken care of. But yeah, there's only so much we can cover, and if we went through every single thing on the phone system and every single thing on the admin portal, this demo would be an 8-hour demo. It'd be pretty excruciating to watch as well. So I love the fact that you kind of hit the highlights of like, hey, what's really cool, what kind of stands out that DialPad does both on the user side and the admin side. So I think that's great.
Awesome. Cool. And yeah, to your point, we'll dive as deep as anyone wants on a proper demo after they reach out to you. But last thing, we'll wrap it up here, is our analytics portal.
Oh yeah.
And so same thing, won't spend too much time, but there's a lot of unique things that DialPad offers out of the box with our UCaaS licenses, which is also why a lot of people choose to go with DialPad. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, where at DialPad, because of the transcription, we're almost like a data company that does voice. It's no longer just tracking call volume metrics. And so what I mean by that is when I go into my admin portal or analytics portal, because I'm the admin, I could see all the calls for all the users like in my office or other offices. If I was just a regular end user, I'd really only see my calls. But all the traditional call volume metrics are available. So I can see, changes over time. Clearly, we have drop-offs during the weekend. Here's my total breakdown, inbound versus outbound calls. Of those inbound calls, how many were missed or abandoned before we even connected to someone or transferred elsewhere, right? And there's links to every single one of these calls if you want to drill down deeper into them. But then also mind my scrolling. At the bottom, we have breakdowns. So leaderboards on who is the user that's making the most amount of calls, what's their total talk time, average talk time, and then again, links back into all these. So if I want to see the 45 calls Jesse missed, it's one click away from me. But that's not necessarily where we thrive. We do great, but every provider should be able to offer analytics, I would say. And what's unique for DialPad is being able to get deeper into the weeds. So if I wanted to look up specific keywords, or actually what I like to show here are moments, where like Mike, you mentioned we can track competitor names. Let's see if I have one readily available here. Usually I do currency, but Okay, perfect. So of those 3,000 calls that came in, I can see in this beta instance that our competitors were brought up 49 times. And with a huge spike on July 2nd, maybe something happened or there's a campaign. Right now I can actually dig into that information. And so as I scroll down, I can see, okay, Mario had it brought up the most, and it was the customer that was asking Mario more often than our agents doing it. I'll pick on Nate, who I'm pretty good friends with here at DialPad. So if I click on that 8, I can see all 8 of those calls and the total talk time, links back to the recordings as well if they are recorded. But this call summary page, I'll use this one, 4 minutes. This is actually the link that we embedded into Salesforce and showed earlier. And we build these immediately after every single call. And so here, I didn't even have to go back and listen, scroll through or anything. It directly took me to that point in the conversation where Teams, Microsoft Teams, not really a competitor, but kind of, was mentioned on that call. So I can jump directly to that, right? So that saves me just inherently 2 minutes if I'm a QA or a manager and I'm choosing calls to review for someone. It navigates me directly to that point in the conversation and I can start listening right from there.
Wow. And all that's available just with the standard licensing? That's not like an elevated license to be able to get that type of analytics?
Exactly. All out of the box on our basic UCaaS.
Yeah, that's contact center level analytics for sure.
Yeah, totally. And so that's essentially what I mean by it's not just the call volume, but it's what was actually said on the call. And we take it obviously even steps further once we get into the contact center, right? I can come in and maybe get this customer satisfaction scores, have AI generate those on literally every call, or go through and grade those calls for me. So that's all a little bit more robust in the contact center. But yeah, out of the box, basic UCaaS, you can search by keyword, right? How often is this feature or this competitor being brought up? Or currency for salespeople, right? Things, currency, I'll use that one. And again, 63 calls had some type of currency get brought up with a bigger spike. Maybe we're doing a campaign right now, right? It's things like that where it's the next layer of analytics that's offered in DialPad. And like I mentioned at the very start, we do offer unlimited storage. So if you want to go back as far as 6 years ago in your history and see when was mentioned, you could easily do that as long as you're a customer in DialPad.
Yeah, that's cool. That's again, one of those features that it's hard to imagine that wouldn't be interesting for a CEO to have access to, or, operations or anybody, sales VPs, things like that, where you start to look at maybe they're not aware that those types,
right.
That type of information is available. So, I get that a lot. Customers will say we don't do any fancy features. We don't do this. We don't do that. But how much of that is because they're just not aware that reports like that are readily available, where they could maybe get some insight as to what's going on within the marketing department or sales department or, customer service, things like that, where it's okay, what's being said? How often is it being brought up? It just helps you get that information, just educates you a little bit and starts conversations. I think that's a lot of it. They just don't know that they can get that information that quick.
Totally. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. That's why I like to say when people are AI curious, where it's I know this could help me, but I don't know how. And then it's on these demos where we show them, do you actually want to know the exact amount of time a pricing call happened or how much this competitor is being asked about? And once you can start quantifying it, then you can make better business decisions, right?
Sure. Yep. It just starts leading you down a rabbit hole of all right, at least it starts the conversation. What other questions should we be asking that we haven't been asking? I wasn't aware that was going on.
Right. Yeah. My favorite story, and I'll end with a quick plug that we can export all this information to emails as well. You don't always have to come in here and dig for it. But on the subject and point that you may not even be aware, we have a great customer of ours to Cobus Boots, where we had them sign up pretty early on with DialPad 5-6 years ago. And they went in and they had an SDR, BDR, someone be hey, I'm getting a lot of questions on square-toed boots and not just round-toed boots. And so their marketing person came in, keyword typed in, square toe. and it's not going to work on mine because we don't serve cowboy boots. Let's see if there's any. yeah, there's none. But for them, that's a pretty commonly asked question. I think it popped up and it was like 10 to 15% of all calls. Someone asked, hey, do you offer this type of boot? And that immediately unlocked a new revenue source for them, just because they were like, oh, okay, wow, we are getting a question. This is a frequently required product or asked about product. Let's roll this out. And so it's sometimes with this information, it can turn it from what you think is like a cost center to it's like, oh, wow, we can unlock even profit from this.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of like helps you figure out what the trends are that,
Right.
you know, because all of us kind of get caught up in our, you know, just in our routine of like, these are the things we sell. This is what customers want, you know, but we're not really paying attention to things change. You know, it's like what customers are asking about, you know, today versus 10 years ago is probably different, but
Totally.
you know, like unless you're a salesperson or something who's in front of them all the time. And even then maybe you're not just like recognizing it. Like, yeah, they ask about it a lot, but I'm not really thinking in terms of, like you said, product development or marketing of like salesperson's like, oh, we don't offer that many of those. But you're like, if marketing or product knew how many times that was being asked, they're like, this is a trend we need to be aware of. Like these are getting popular. Square toe boots are the new trend. And we weren't aware of that. Like, hello, we need to jump on that. But that is cool.
Yeah. All right. So that's most of everything I had planned to show for this, you know, standard demo. Obviously, like I mentioned several times, we're happy to get as into the weeds as any of your customers want when they set their own, you know, tailored demo.
Cool. Well, thanks, Connor. I appreciate it. It looks awesome. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to show everybody.
Sweet. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed Connor's explanation of DialPad and all the cool features that they have. I know I had a great conversation with him. Again, if you'd like more information and you work for a medium to large size company and you'd like a demo and a quote from DialPad, don't call them directly. Don't try to reach out to Connor on LinkedIn. Actually, just reach out to me. Send me an email, give me a call. This is what I do. I'm a broker for all the major vendors out there, including DialPad. And I will make sure your company gets better pricing from DialPad than if you tried to call them directly. You will get the best pricing if you work through me. You also get in touch with the best people. As you can see, people like Connor who really know what they're doing, and his team is awesome. So if you want more information on them, send me an email, give me a call. And also if you'd like to compare them to other vendors, send me an email, give me a call. And I'd love to help you. It's the reason why I do these videos. And also go subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my weekly videos that I put out. And go check out our website, aerocominc.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.